In this podcast episode, Codie Sanchez welcomes Dr. Gabrielle Lyon, a physician, New York Times best-selling author, and expert in geriatrics, nutrition, health, and longevity. The wide-ranging conversation delves into how entrepreneurs and high performers can optimize their physical and mental health by prioritizing exercise and nutrition, with an emphasis on muscle health as the cornerstone of longevity and overall well-being. Dr. Lyon opens the discussion, challenging the notion of a healthy sedentary person, stating emphatically that physical activity is non-negotiable for health. She explains muscle is not just tissue but an organ system, and crucially, the only organ system over which humans have voluntary control. Engaging skeletal muscle through resistance training and cardiovascular exercise not only promotes longevity but also enhances brain function. This is particularly important for entrepreneurs who rely heavily on cognitive performance. Muscle acts as a sink for metabolism and is a critical factor in preventing type 3 diabetes of the brain, a term Dr. Lyon uses to describe Alzheimer's disease as a metabolic dysfunction impact on the brain. By maintaining or building muscle via strength training 3 times a week combined with at least one high-intensity interval training (IT) session, and increasing overall movement during the day, such as walking during calls, individuals can optimize brain volume and reduce risk for dementia later in life. HIIT specifically, with sprint intervals, trains the brain to think faster as well as improves vascular health. Dr. Lyon stresses the importance of consistent movement, citing statistics that show around 74% of Americans do not meet the basic recommendations of 150 minutes of moderate activity plus strength training twice a week. Recognizing the challenges entrepreneurs face with time constraints and distractions, Dr. Lyon offers practical hacks. Her number one recommendation is to make exercise non-negotiable and schedule it into one's day. She emphasizes not waiting for motivation, because motivation is fleeting, and lack of activity not only compounds negative health effects, but also distracts people mentally. To integrate movement seamlessly, she suggests a treadmill desk as a simple tool to increase daily step count while working, paired with a kettlebell or resistance bands to enable quick strength workouts from home or office. Preparing a ready-to-go protein shake for the first meal of the day can simplify nutrition, ensuring protein intake starts early, which supports muscle health and brain function. These actionable tips are tailored specifically to high performers who often feel they don't have time to move. Dr. Lyon also addresses common entrepreneurial excuses, noting that many struggle with prioritizing their health because they don't directly see the link between exercise and improved business outcomes. However, she reminds listeners that illness derails productivity far more than investing time in health. On the nutritional front, Dr. Lyon stresses that for those who are sedentary or not strength training, carbohydrate intake should be limited since the average American consumes roughly 300 grams per day, while the recommended amount is about 130 grams. Excess carbs that are not earned through physical activity essentially overload the body's metabolic system, raising risk factors, including Alzheimer's. The advice is to reduce processed carbohydrates like bread, potatoes, and rice if not exercising intensely. Conversely, protein intake is critically important to maintain muscle mass and improve cognitive function. She recommends a practical goal of approximately 100 grams of protein daily, split evenly through 2 main meals. Examples include protein shakes, eggs, Greek yogurt, chicken patties, or even steak and eggs for breakfast, underscoring the variety of ways to meet this goal. This focus on protein bolsters willpower and helps stabilize blood sugar levels, which in turn reduces unhealthy snacking and energy crashes. Intermittent fasting receives a nuanced treatment. Dr. Lyon affirms that time-restricted feeding windows of 8 to 9 hours can be helpful for metabolic stability, but cautions against prolonged fasts beyond 24 hours, which could jeopardize muscle preservation. The body does not like chaos, so maintaining consistent meal timing and balanced nutrition supports overall health. Sleep hygiene is identified as another pillar of health, especially for cognitive preservation and muscle recovery. Dr. Lyon recommends strict consistency in going to bed and waking up at the same time daily. Exposure to morning sunlight without glasses or contacts anchors the circadian rhythm and primes the body for melatonin production at night, leading to deeper, more restorative sleep. This optimizes brain function by enhancing muscle protein synthesis and cognitive repair. Addressing common sleep disturbances, Dr. Lyon highlights reactive hypoglycemia as a frequent cause of night awakenings where blood sugar drops during sleep, leading to interruptions that impair recovery. Eating a balanced light meal before bedtime with both carbs and protein can prevent this. She also comments on sleep apnea, a prevalent but often undiagnosed condition, especially among men with large neck circumference or loud snoring partners. Diagnosis and treatment, sometimes involving weight loss and positional therapy, are crucial for preserving brain health and reducing dementia risk. Stress and mood cycles are discussed through the lens of dopamine regulation. High performers often chase intense peak states, followed by crashes that foster vulnerability to poor dietary and lifestyle choices. Dr. Lyon encourages creating purposeful restriction to mitigate these highs and lows. One practical example includes flipping a coin to decide whether to indulge caffeine or another favored stimulant, breaking habitual cravings, and training self-control. The episode also delves into the importance of social relationships in maintaining mental acuity. Dr. Lyon references research linking loneliness and social isolation to increased dementia risk. Genuine in-person relationships and physical touch stimulate oxytocin release, a hormone vital for bonding, mood regulation, and overall brain health. Although digital and AI interactions can provide some semblance of connection, they do not replicate the full physiological and psychological benefits of human contact. She cautions that the rising role of AI and parasocial relationships may worsen isolation if they replace real-world engagement, emphasizing that meaningful social bonds protect against depression, anxiety, and cognitive decline. The importance of mindset and mental health is reiterated, noting that being overweight correlates with decreased brain volume and cognitive function, a fact summarized bluntly as, fatter you are, dumber you are. While the relationship between attitude and brain health is less studied, she acknowledges that depressive states likely impair brain function and physical health. Dr. Lyon discusses and critiques various diet fads and health misconceptions that often distract people from foundational practices. She dismisses extreme or fad diets, such as the lucky diet, smoking to lose weight, the amphetamine diet, and the wine and egg diet, as ineffective or harmful. Instead, she affirms the value of simple, sustainable habits, including consistent protein intake, appropriate exercise, and good sleep. Regarding caffeine, she reassures listeners that moderate intake is safe and beneficial for most people, including women trying to conceive, with a cautious limit around 200 milligrams per day during pregnancy. She also addresses widespread concerns about artificial sweeteners and seed oils, noting that the scientific evidence does not conclusively support claims of harm, emphasizing instead the importance of whole foods over hyperfixations on single ingredients. When it comes to infertility, particularly in women with PCOS, Dr. Lyon shares cutting-edge insights highlighting muscle building as one of the most tactful lifestyle changes for improving fertility by addressing insulin resistance, a root cause of PCOS. On alcohol, she calls it a toxin with negligible health benefits, suggesting that if people are to indulge, they should carefully balance consumption with physical activity to offset metabolic harms. Toward the end, Dr. Lyon offers a stark recipe for becoming the unhealthiest person possible. Avoid exercise entirely, consume a high-calorie, high-carb processed diet, disconnect socially, and regularly consume alcohol. This inverse thinking reinforces how simple and interconnected the pillars of health truly are. She concludes with an invitation to her upcoming live event for business owners and entrepreneurs, and highlights her new book, Forever Strong Playbook, designed as an evidence-based guide to help busy people easily adopt muscle-centered nutrition and exercise strategies, optimize sleep, and improve recovery.